Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about pig health, medications to keep on hand, bedding, feed, and what kind of hay or straw that I use. These are some of the supplies that I keep on hand. I have more. They're just in boxes everywhere because we just moved back. It's kind of overwhelming, but it's not really that bad. We can talk about medications first. I don't have a lot. I like to keep some Benamine, ivermectin, LA300, and iodine. I like to keep all that stuff on hand. Things that I learned that I needed, things that I didn't have, and I lost pigs. I lost piglets anyway. But when you talk about the ivermectin, it's this stuff. This stuff is a pour-on solution. You mix it with water, and then you can just put it a line straight on their spine, on their back. You just pour it right on them, and it works for worms, lungworms, grubs, sucking lice, biting lice, managed mites, horn flies, and it does more. This is an injection ivermectin. I have not used this. I would rather pour on than inject into the meat. I think injecting things bruises the meat and makes part of the meat unedible even in the future. The LA300 I've used many times, and it's a pain reliever, fever reducer. It kills bacterial infections, all kinds of things like that. They also have 200 LA. I ended up getting the 300 just because they didn't have any more 200. This is injection. You inject it in the muscle behind the ear in the neck. And depending on the weight of the pig is depending on how much you give them. Benamine is a pain reliever. I got this natural stuff, and I put it in a little bit of water or in their food, so I don't have to give them any more chemicals or prescription drugs than I have to. I got this natural stuff. Sometimes you'll see the pigs limping around. It could be foot rot. Mine do not have foot rot, but it's real muddy out there, so when they're trying to mount each other, they hurt their legs. So I'll use this before I use any drugs for pain relief. And if they continue after a couple days to limp, then I will give them, I don't remember the name of it, but it's almost like an ibuprofen, and that usually does the trick. Blue coat and iodine. Those are my two favorite to keep around for piglets. I use these when I castrate. I will squirt the scrotum with iodine before I make any incisions. Let it sit for a minute. I'll make my incisions. I'll take the little guys out, cut them off, and then I will put this blue coat on there. And I've never had any piglets with infections or any issues after doing so. A lot of people don't like blue coat. They think that it causes cancer, stuff like that. Other people have been using it for years and years and years. No issues. So I do use it. Other things to have. Terramycin. Excuse me. I don't know how to pronounce these names most of the time, but this one is for my dogs. And you don't want them to lick this after spraying it on. And you can use this. You can use iodine. I like iodine better for open wounds and things like that. But this one is for my dogs. This, a lot of people use on cattle and horses if they get infections or something in their eyes, and they will use this as an antiseptic for their eyeballs, and I've used it on my pigs and it worked great. Shrek, my boar, he had a piece of cheatgrass in his eye when he was a baby. It was swollen shut and it was causing him some pain, so we rinsed it out with some distilled water, and then I added this on 2 days later. He was just fine. His eyes were wide open again. These, self-explanatory. They're great if your sows ever have issues farrowing piglets. You can get in there and get dirty. Gloves, they're just good to have on hand to give them their shots. If you are the type that will vaccinate your pigs, I am not. I do not vaccinate. I give them shots only if I need to. Like, let's say they're gonna die, I will give them a shot. Other than that, my pigs are natural, all natural. All my feed is natural. I'd say 90%. But if you want to vaccinate your pigs, best thing to do, especially if you have, I don't know, 4, 5, a dozen, getting something like this is worth it if you are doing a lot of vaccinating. It measures how much it puts out. You can set the measurement on it and you just squeeze that and boom, you're done. I got these slap shots. They attach to this, and then you put your syringe or your needle in this. The bad part is if you don't have enough pigs, this takes up a lot. It's not really a lot, but it's more than I want to waste. So you'll fill this up, then you have to pump it out to fill this up so there's no air in it. And then once it comes out of the needle, then you poke the needle in, you hit how much you want, done with that pig. Next pig, slap it in, and it's very easy to use. But as you can see, I've not used them. I don't have that many pigs and I don't vaccinate. I only give them shots when I need to. I believe a normal pig temperature would be about 101.5, 102.5, right in that range. If it's 103, they're starting to get a fever. At 104, that's pretty bad. Crazy's temperature has been 107 before, and that's getting too close to death for me. 109, a pig will die. And I don't know if they can come back once they hit 109, but I'd rather not find out. So when they get up to 105, I'm on the ball. I'm going to give them a shot of LA300. For castrating, you want good quality sharp blades. Do not buy these. They are not good quality sharp blades. They are sharp for maybe 2 testicles. That's it. They will dull after the first pig. Do not buy these. Find better ones, but you do want razor blades around. If you're going to be breeding and castrating piglets, you definitely want these. We could talk about feed, which I have some here. I get 2,000-pound totes, 1 ton of feed. That feed right there is this. Go ahead and pause the video. It's non-GMO, soy-free pig feed. 16% protein. I believe 16% is about as low as you want. I think the pig feed, the 2 tons I have here, is 19%. And that's about as high as you want as well. So everything that I try and get is natural no chemical, no spray, non-GMO, as much as I possibly can afford. This feed here is $640 a ton. And this came off a 50-pound bag, which were, back when I first started and I didn't need so much feed, this is what I got, 50-pound bags. Oh, I forgot. Dewormer, which is ivermectin. You can also use Safeguard. Safeguard goes into their feed, and you got to read the crazy instructions on the back. It's kind of hard to understand, but once you read everything, then you kind of go back and forth with the instructions. It's not easy to learn, not easy to read the instructions, but it works. But it's just another alternative to deworming, and I would rather use the pour-on. It's simple and it works great. As far as the feed, you saw the non-GMO pig feed. You can do pig grower instead of the pig feed. Pig grower is for the younger pigs until they hit, I don't know, six months or so, or 5 months, and then you move into the pig feed. I just feed pig feed, that's it. Even with the little ones. Sometimes, I'm gonna go back to the piglets. Sometimes you get piglets that will not suckle on their mom, or they will for a little bit and then they'll stop, and then they just become too weak to do so. That's where goat's milk comes in. Now this is not, I would rather have real goat's milk and feed them real goat's milk than the powdered stuff. This I just have on hand. I have 2 bags of this, 2 different types. This I would use in a pinch. If I couldn't get goat's milk, I would use this. And then also you want some type of bottle with a nipple. This is obviously too big for the piglets, but they might be able to use it. But it's better than nothing. But you definitely want a bottle, a baby bottle with a nipple. If you're breeding and you have piglets. Just some items that are good to have on hand. I think last June 1st, 2023, the government got involved, and now for meds, I'm not sure about LA300, but for most meds, you need a vet prescription to get meds to medicate your livestock. I'm not sure how far they went with it, but obviously, you know, our government, they want in everything and they screw everything up. So I'm not sure what you can get on over the counter anymore, but yeah, that's that. But that's some of the, well, that's most of the supplies that I keep on hand, just in case of anything that has happened to me happens again. Now there's going to be times where something happens that I don't know what is going on. Like the LA300 didn't work for Crazy, but it worked for Phoebe. So that's telling me that it wasn't pneumonia or anything like that. He must have eaten something that was poisonous to him. So that's why the vet gave me that other medication. Some other things not related to feed that you want to have on hand. A better quality voltmeter for your electric fence to make sure that it's powerful enough to keep them inside. This is not quality. This is very cheap. I don't have a quality one yet. But these lights light up, tells you roughly how many volts are in it. It's off. It doesn't work that great. And in the daylight, if the sun is shining, you cannot see these lights unless you cover it. But that's another good thing to have on hand. You can find a ground, where your fence is ground out. You can find that with these. If it's grounded here and you're measuring towards the box, you're going to see full voltage, and then you go to the other side, it's going to be less. So it's definitely a good thing to have on hand. Another good thing to have on hand are pig nipples. Sometimes they freeze, sometimes the pigs break them and they leak. You definitely want these on hand if you're using nipples for watering pigs. There you have it, most of the meds and supplies I keep on hand. Some of that stuff I keep on hand because of mistakes I made and losing piglets, not from mom laying on them. I like to keep all that stuff on hand just for emergency uses and stuff like that. As far as bedding goes, just regular straw. Try not to get straw that has mold in it. The pigs will eat some of it. I don't know how much straw they'll really eat, but you can use pine shavings as well, pine chips, wherever you can find. Oops. Whatever you can find for bedding. As far as feeding them hay, I don't buy a lot of hay. This year I think I bought more than any other year. But they're kind of smaller bales. I think they're 3 by 2 by 2 bales, and the bales I normally get are 4 by 2 by 2, and they're about $20 a bale, and it's no spray, non-GMO. You know, there's no spray on them at all. It's hard to really trust people unless they have a reputation for not spraying their grass hay or alfalfa hay. And that's another thing. I get alfalfa hay. The smaller bales that I got, they were cheap. They were like $5 a bale, and that's a mixed grass hay. And I don't know if that was sprayed or not. He's just some local guy selling a ton of it for pretty cheap, so I wouldn't doubt it has spray on it. But the $20 bales, I know it has zero spray, zero pesticides, no chemicals whatsoever, and that's how I like to keep it. None of my property is ever sprayed. I've been here 2.5 years, and it's never been sprayed. I got neighbors that like to spray ground killer so they don't have to deal with the weeds and the fences. I do not do that, and I told him not to spray on this property because I don't care about the weeds. The pig, if it blows into the pigs' pastures, they'll eat it or they'll use it for bedding. I don't care what happens to the weeds, and if it gets too bad, I'll just burn them. But it's not a negative situation between me and my neighbors. We get along pretty good, and he understands why I don't want to spray. But as far as all that stuff goes, that's pretty much it. When I'm not feeding them alfalfa hay, I'm growing basically alfalfa, wheatgrass, barley, cloves, sweet clover, not cloves, clover, out in the pastures, and it comes up pretty good. And then the weeds, they'll outgrow my grass, which keeps it moist underneath. So you want to use the vegetation, you don't want to get rid of the weeds. The pigs will do all that. But yeah, I grow all that stuff, and the seed that I get, oh man, I should go show you. I get it from Nature Seed. It's all natural seeds. It's not cheap by any means. I've already spread some out through all the pastures, but this is all my seeds right here, and those 2 bags down there. There's all kinds of stuff. All of these bags, see, there's alfalfa. Oh, shoot. This is Alsite clover. it's upside down. Sweet clover. More alfalfa. What's that one? This is a dryland mixture, pasture mixture. Barley. More sweet clover. I think this is more clover as well. I think the tag is gone, but this is more clover. I think it's white clover. But yeah, there's some more white sweet clover down there. But that's what I put in my pasture, in all the pastures. Here you go. You can. I'll put it on the table for you. These are most of the stuff. This is not all. This receipt is for the last stuff that I bought. This is not everything that I bought, but I just bought everything again, and each time it is a $500 bill. I think they were short on something and I wasn't able to get it. That's why it's a lower price. But Nature Seed, definitely the best place to go. I never had any issues growing any of it. Other than my soil, it's a sandy loam. There's no nutrients in the ground at all. Just what the pigs lay down. And me tilling it, well, we disked it. We didn't till. But that's what I grow out there every year. And every year it gets better and better. Another thing to keep on hand, if you're going to be breeding, you don't really need it for just raising feeders, or heaters. Now this right now, I'll tell you, you want to stay away from this. Do not use a heat lamp in your pig pens or anything. I've heard horror stories of people losing entire litters of piglets and the sow and their farrowing pen by heat lamps burning them down. They fall or they arc, or I don't know what the issues are, but the heat lamps are the most dangerous heat source there is for any pigs. This would be my number one pick. It's a chick brooder. It's just a heating mat. You can hang it. You can put it in a stand. You can do a whole. You can mount that all kinds of different ways. But I would hang it. I did have it hung like this from the ceiling in Fiona's pen before I got my infrared heater back. But this, it needs to be down low towards the piglets, and it also needs blocked off like I was talking about in my last video, so Fiona can't, or Phoebe can't get to it and knock it down. It won't cause fire even if it is knocked down. It doesn't get that hot, but you want it back to where the sows can't get to it, and the piglets, they won't really bother it. And it should be a little bit above their heads anyway, out of the way, so they can't grab onto it either. But back behind a board, you know, in a corner, you cut that corner off diagonal and hang that in there. They'll be just fine with that. I like the infrared heater because it heats the whole place. If it's 30 degrees outside, you know, it'll be like 34 inside, you know. So, but anyway, I like my infrared heater a lot better. Puts off a little more heat. I can keep it way up out of the way. Nobody touches it. But that's about it. There's all kinds of things you can get for pigs. Water barrels, waterers, nibbles, free feeders. I do have a free feeder here. They're not cheap either, but I did get these at a discounted price. But I don't free feed my pigs. The only use this would have is if I left for a weekend and I put some feed in there for the pigs. It's the only use I have for those. Hey guys, I was just going through the video, and the GoPro has once again screwed up quite a bit of my video. but I just wanted to add in to get temperatures on pigs it can be a battle sometimes. The best time to do it is when they're eating. If they're eating, if they are sick and you know they're sick, they're going to lay down and they're really not going to give you any trouble. But you definitely want a fast reading digital thermometer, the best you can get. That way you get the temperature like that, and you don't have to screw around with it, sitting there waiting for it hanging out of their tail end. It makes it pretty frustrating. You can see my thermometer that I have on the table in the video, and that's not the best thermometer. I bought that because I could get it in a day, and it does work. It just takes a bit to get up to read their temperatures is all. But yeah, you want the best fast reading temperature or thermometer that you can get. But I think I've covered most everything else. I know I'm a bit scatterbrained. My brain doesn't work very good. I'm all over the place all the time, every day. And I apologize for that, but if you have any questions or I missed something, which I almost guarantee I did, go ahead and leave it in the comments and I will reply. Sometimes it takes me a bit to reply because I'm not on YouTube every single day, but the moment I see it, I will reply to it. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Really, really, really appreciate all of you subscribing. If you liked the video, give me that thumbs up, leave a comment, any advice, anything like that. I'm open to it all. I'm not a professional, and if anybody knows any more than me, I will gladly soak that information up. Give me that thumbs up. I appreciate it. Till the next one, have a good one.